So I'm Jay Sears. I'm the SVP of Marketplace Development at Rubicon Project. We're an advertising automation platform, a technology company used by 700 media owners around the world. And on the other side of that are 100,000 advertiser brands that trade in this new way called Programmatic. So this is our first State of Programmatic panel at Festival of Media Latin America. And we've conducted these sessions around the world, including with Charlie and the festival in Singapore, Rome, and now Miami. And today, we're going to look at automation in markets across Latin America. And when we talk about it, we're going to talk really about the two parts of automation. So one is programmatic. You also might know it referred to as real-time bidding. And that's really about driving the effectiveness of advertising. And a lot of that is starting to make advertising look a lot like stock market trading. And the second piece of automation is workflow, and it's all about efficiency and how we effectively use our people and use all of you so that there's more time for strategy, for planning, for creativity, and really for the art of advertising. So what the good news is for folks operating in Latin America is a lot of learning exists from around the world. Yeah. So we've made plenty of mistakes in the US and in markets across Europe where you can take the good and leave the bad. But the technology to do what we're going to talk about today, it exists. So a lot of what we're going to focus on is the organizational change going on inside media owners around the world and inside the organizations where all of you guys work, the advertising holding companies. So first, I'm going to quickly introduce our panelists, and then I'll frame up the discussion. Okay, first I have Matías from Ogilvy. How are you? The Chief Digital Officer of Ogilvy and Méndez across Latin America. Now, Matías has lived around the world, right? A lot of work in Central and Eastern Europe with Havas Digital, yep. running strategy there. MBA out of University of Chicago, and an undergraduate from Universidad de San Andrés. And now you live in Miami, but yep. You lived in Madrid before. He runs marathons, triathlons, and adventure races, and you'll see today programmatic and what all of you are going to undergo in the next couple years is a little bit like an adventure race, yep. I think.
Definitely.
Okay. And then next to Matías is Jose. So online marketing across Latin America for 15 years. Yeah. And so Jose is the COO of Alpert, which is the automated trading operation at Havas. Mm-hmm. Okay. And what's interesting is before he joined Alpert, he ran LATAM for Matomi, which is an ad network. And a lot of things we're going to talk about today is the ad network and some of the transformations happening and movements between ad networks and platforms. Okay, and then we have Vanessa. Hi, Vanessa, from OMG Digital, so running the regional office for LATAM. Took that over in 2012. Launched Acuin, which is the Omnicom trading desk in the region. And worked on the account side. So this is going to be interesting because we're going to talk about how you talk to clients about programmatic. And a master's degree from Emerson in Boston, and then undergrad from Lima University. And then also a few years on the client side. So how do we explain all this madness to clients? Okay, and then anchoring this for us today is Marina with IPG Mediabrands. She's the audience platform director for World Markets, Latin America. So a digital marketing professor too on the side. So also a lot of what we need to do is educate the market. So let's talk about how we do that. That's a big issue. And also a lot of background training. Okay, so here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to ask first our panelists some facts and figures about the market and about their operations across Latin America. Then we're going to talk about kind of best practices and kind of compare that to where we are in market. And then we're going to spend just a few minutes on specific markets in LATAM like Brazil, Argentina, and Mexico and kind of break that apart. All right, so the first topic is today, on average, for every dollar your advertisers spend on advertising overall, how much of that dollar is going to a programmatic or automated channel? And Matías, let's start with you, and we're just going to run down the line here.
Quick fact.
Yeah.
I'd say 1.5 cents to 5 cents, depending on the market.
Okay. All right. Jose?
Pretty similar, but as he said, if you compare Mexico to Colombia, to Peru, to Brazil, you know, it's different worlds. So.
Okay, but the same sort of range? Yeah. Okay. All right. Vanessa?
Still a small range. Definitely, we cannot talk about like all markets are the same.
Okay.
And especially you compare against traditional media, so against all total advertisers, still actually pretty small spend.
Okay. All
right. I totally agree. It's a low startup, you know, but it's very important that we need to differentiate the regional approach of the blue chip companies of the local level approach, because it's baby steps. We are in baby steps. And 5 cents is the average at all right now of the overall, you know. But in terms of digital, it's about 12 or 15%.
Okay, got it. And you're making also a difference between the multinationals that maybe take learnings from other markets, and you're saying that adoption is a little faster than a regional.
Yeah, multinationals are leapfrogging, you know, the vision, the concept of programmatic, because they also achieve huge goals with Sears, for instance, several years ago.
Yeah.
So it's more easy to them to take advantage of first mover advantage and early adoption of programmatic opportunities, and they're really making the difference.
Yeah.
It's also more politically correct for them, right? Because advertisers need to take a leap. And that leap, when you have the corporation supporting it in other markets, it's easier. So when you say talking about education, well, even if I'm not educated enough, but the corporation is supporting me, then it's easier to say, okay. Just
so internally, they can kind of evoke their experience in a European market or a US market.
If you take the experience that most of our multinational clients that they have in the US or the regions, they are more open to start trying, testing programmatic in the markets.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a different reality that happens in each one of the local markets.
So maybe up to about 5% of the spend now on programmatic. Now let's talk about 2 years from now in 2016. So let's go back down the line. I'll start with you again, Matías. What's the best estimate in terms of that? Where does that number go in 2 years?
I mean, the low-hanging fruit is as you said before, the ad network spend.
Yeah.
So channeling that with which on average in the region, again, it varies a lot, but put that at 25%. So that is the mark you're shooting for. Is that too optimistic? Outside of Brazil, it is a bit too optimistic, but we still have that, let's say, as an objective, because it does help workflow, it does help push digital in general forward. So I will put 25%, and then I will sort of tone it down in Mexico, tone it down in Argentina, tone it down in Colombia, but that's where we're going. And in Brazil, I think we're going fast, so it looks appropriate.
Okay, all right. So around 25 cents in the dollar, Jose. What do you think in 2 years?
I was in Mexico yesterday, and I can tell you, we had meetings. We had a seminar on programmatic, and they were all asking about DMPs, DSPs.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a fever today in the whole region, and I'm not sure if it's 25, 30%, but for sure we're talking about big amounts of money, and particularly big increases over the years. So that's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Vanessa,
so
where are we
in 3
going to be?
years, so moving into 2016, though, we can see around between 25% to 30%. However, with now the launching of different DMP platforms, you can see a curve getting steady, because you are going to have more visibility about your campaigns and the programmatic buying.
Yeah.
Therefore, that growth can become steady at some point, because you will be more efficient across different digital platforms. And we have to consider that programmatic is not the only media growing in the market. It's only video and social that is taking a huge share and huge participation in our clients' portfolio of media activation. So we have to take those media also under account.
Okay, all right, and Marina, 2 years from now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with them better because 20%, 25% is the minimum because, for instance, we have Magna Global, you know, Magna Global is our trading and intelligence army in Mediabrands, and they forecast, they really forecast about 52% by 2017.
Yeah.
So it's about $10.5 billion into programmatic. The thing is, once you start and you can see the results and the efficiency, you can stop, you know?
Yeah.
It's growing up very steadily because it's a way to go, and it will be grow so fast within Latin America and across the world.
Yeah, well, can you speak to that for a minute? Because at Festival Media in Rome, we had Matt Seiler on stage, okay, who's the CEO of Mediabrands, right? Okay, and tell everybody for a minute about the goals he's set for IPG and Mediabrands across the world.
Yeah, he's totally determined to switch at least 50% into the programmatic world because the programmatic is here to stay, you know, and it's not only digital. Programmatic really complies a lot of different visions about television, out of home, and a lot of vehicles and channels that we can achieve better goals together with blue chip companies, with regional and a global approach.
Yeah.
And that's our vision. I totally agree with him. I'm a huge fan of performance marketing and programmatic, you know, and we're going to do it.
Yeah. And what's so fascinating is the 50% number is all of their spend. It's not digital only, it's everything, all right, which includes television.
Everything,
right? So that's a big number. Okay, so we know spend is going up, it's going to keep going up through automated channels. All of you are clearly investing resources. In the US and certain European markets, we've seen a real evolution. From the late 90s until maybe 5 or 6 years ago, it was all about ad networks. A lot of them were non-transparent, blind. Someone used the words the black pool this morning. Yeah. Then they became specialized. There was a little bit more visibility. Then in 2010, 2011, we had the emergence of the auction market, right? And real-time bidding. Originally with fewer controls, and today I would argue with an enormous amount of control for both buyer and seller. And then in the last 2 or 3 years, we've seen the emergence of the order automation or the private marketplace market that's really taken off. And it's a little bit back to the future, but it's really that automation layer around direct buying and selling. And leveraging first-party data, using DMPs, data management platforms, and allowing for that kind of unique value that all of you guys are expected to deliver your clients. So let's back up and go into a little more detail as we go through and kind of index where we are across Latin America. So Matías, I'm going to start with you. So the state of affairs with ad networks. So you mentioned it in the setup. And you told me a very interesting story when we were talking about what used to be a 25% mix in terms of spend going to ad networks among your client base in Brazil, and what's happened recently there?
Well, that's the low-hanging fruit, so as to say. It's once you've educated clients, once you've sort of talked to publishers and had that inventory put in place, then the line to replace in the media plan that's easy from an education perspective is the ad network line. The rest of the lines, I mean, I think it will take more time because it has more to do with the workflow, changing the way we negotiate media deals on an annual basis or for tactical campaigns. That has been easy in the conversation with the advertiser. I mean, be that the global advertiser that has a corporate support or the local advertiser that says, well, I'm willing to try, and that ad network thing, I was never too sure about. Well, let's start there. And that has been easy. And in Brazil, it has flowed very, very dramatically, I think. When we say the 25% that for me is optimistic for Mexico, for Colombia, for Argentina, in Brazil, we've always beaten expectations because they've seen the traction. Once you get better inventory, like Rubicon does, that we can buy through the platform, I mean, it just escalates very, very, very quickly. So that was the low-hanging fruit. I think now we're at a point where we're going beyond that, and it's not just the ad network spend now. Well, how can we move around to make better use of programmatic in general?
Okay, got it. And can you say what the number is? Like you said, you started 25% mix.
25% was the mark. So now in Brazil it's above 30. So it's now taking sort of traction within the sort of overall planning thing, which it didn't before. It was just let's try here, let's try there. Now it's like solid annual planning kind of basis.
Okay, and the ad network spend has really just completely minimized that.
Outside of the GDN.
Outside of the GDN.
So you have
network,
right?
You
have two things going on there. So one is the GDN thing, and then publishers that are starting to find platforms like Rubicon and others, and understanding better the space. They're sort of pulling inventory out of the GDN and others and plugging it into the exchanges. So there you also have like a dual accelerator, right? So that helps a lot because your campaigns, the campaigns you're doing for your advertisers work a lot better because you have that inventory flowing back from the GDN to the exchange. Yeah,
got it. Okay. And Jose, do you want to talk for a minute? I mean, you have this ad network experience. Now you're on the agency side of things. So what is that transformation like? Tell us about the rise of RTB, real-time bidding, in the auction markets across LATAM.
Well, let's say it's true I'm on the agency side. I'm not sure if I can say on the black side before, but
dark side or not right now.
It's true that due to the fact that we move in and we have more and more advertisers on the branding side wanting to do things on RTB and programmatic, it comes immediately the question of transparency.
Yeah.
If I am a premium brand, I need to know beforehand that I want to be running my campaign on a safe environment. No matter what country we're talking about, whether it's on Peru, Argentina, and they will even ask you for these famous screenshots, right?
Yeah.
That I think we all fight against.
Yes.
So today, in my opinion, the ad networks, they need to change completely. If they still want to do things on programmatic. The other challenge, in my opinion, that we do have overall the industry is that all the local publishers, newspapers, TV broadcasters, and the rest of the premium publishers, that in some countries they are still reluctant. I always say in Spain, when I go there and I meet the big publishers, newspapers and TVs, that at first they always look at you as the bad guy trying to squeeze the money, the prices, whereas we always tell them, you are the one having the inventory, you're the one that can fix floor price, and what we need to do together is try to see things, how we can collaborate together. So the main challenge, in my opinion, in the region is how to convince all those premium local publishers to get them on board and do things together. Yeah.
So, all right, well, that's a terrific setup kind of for moving and talking about orders, our private marketplaces. And I can say from the Rubicon project experience, especially for premium publishers, we've seen very, very quick adoption. A lot of concern about the auction and what they view as kind of commoditized, even though, I think we would all argue that it's much better for them and much more control than an ad network world. But a lot of interest in orders because it really is that full control and allows them to package things. So, Vanessa, I was asking you earlier about how much spend is going through private marketplaces today? What's the range of that? And we're kind of maybe at the beginning, or?
We are at the beginning, definitely. Yeah. So I think that, first of all, I want to say something about ad networks.
Yes.
And I truly believe like media evolve. Like they they mutate to something different.
Yes.
And I can see right now that ad networks, we have premium ad network focused specializations of business. That I think is a great evolution for some clients. And for clients, I think that is great because they have options.
Yes.
It's not only about only two ad networks have all the inventories about premium ad networks with great transparency, have traditional ad networks that are changing as well, integrated with big ad exchanges, and then we have programmatic and private marketplace services. So regarding private marketplace, it's definitely a new concept for some clients, but I think that is adding value to the transparency issue that I feel that is misunderstood for programmatic, because programmatic can be as transparent as you want to be.
Yes.
You can show everything that you want, but there are different models of business inside that. Mm-hmm. And I think Rubicon is doing definitely a great effort trying to show that and trying to incorporate more and more premium, relevant local inventory into the offering. Because that is, for me, the key point for most of the clients. Inventory has to be relevant for them and finally for the consumers.
Yeah, good. And the transparency comes in a couple flavors. I mean, I was in Advertising Week earlier this week, and there's a kind of raging debates around transparency around price and clients being able to see media costs, transparency around inventory, where is it really going and what's the quality of the inventory, and then transparency around data ownership, and who owns the data across kind of the spectrum of the supply chain. So which one of those, or is there another one, takes up most of your conversation? Like Marina, when you talk about transparency with clients, like
all of that.
All of it.
All of that, yeah, because we're working from the client perspective, so we need to be fully transparent. We are a self-compliant company, you know, and it's very important to be transparent in terms of inventory, in terms of costs, in terms of data and the data ownership, you know, because we are working for clients. We're not working for DSPs. We're not working for Facebook or Google. We're not working for ad networks, you know. Winners will be definitely here in programmatic. The first thing we need to state in programmatic is so simple. It's easy. It's absolutely easy. And we need only to have the vision and to have the patience enough to integrate data and content and audiences, you know. It's very easy. The most important thing here in terms of transparency is to understand what KPIs we are achieving. What do we need to achieve, you know? Because where are we seeking? Costs, we are seeking audiences, we're seeking clicks or likes or whatever. That depends on what are we using, what DSP we choose to work with, what audiences we are creating. We create, we sustain, we will grow audiences, especially for our clients. The programmatic business is a client's business, and winners here will be early adopters, content creators, and IT guys, you know. Ad networks, if they sustain their old-fashioned traditional way to work, ad networks will lose. Eventually. You know? That's my point of view. I don't know if you agree.
I would say from a maturity perspective, price and inventory are at the height of the discussion right now. Data, it's early days in the region. I think we do have a lot of offerings in Brazil. Outside of Brazil, it's early days for data, so we're not having that many conversations around first party, third party, where is it coming from? Is it appropriate, not appropriate? The conversation around the legals of that, because I don't know, I come from Europe, from working for a long time in Europe. In Europe, you already have the European Union coming forward with a law that already sort of pushes the conversation forward. In Latin America, I mean, that's going to take maybe, I don't know, 25 years. So we're going to have to put to set the stage. But it's just starting. I mean, so we're talking about with some brands, we're just starting to, well, what is the legal framework where we're going to put this? So talking with a company like I don't know, Naveg in Brazil. So, but what are you guys developing that we can use to bring forward the conversation? I mean, and not even involving the government, because they're going to come up with that in time. So I would say price and inventory at the forefront. Data, it's starting.
Yeah, and Matías, you had said to me earlier, our play is all about transparency. So that's a big message when you go out and talk.
I think the rest of the group also implied that. I mean, that there's a lot of discussion around what value the agencies bring in the new world, and definitely sort of bringing transparency to the market, to the media market, where most of our advertisers' money is spent, is a large part of pushing that forward. And in programmatic, it's specifically important. So that's why. It's in our USP, we put it forward, but I think all of us are trying to push forward the industry in the same direction and sort of revaluing the agency model, right?
Yeah.
And I guess in some cases, the advertisers ask you for transparency, but basically they're asking you to train them, to really explain them what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And because due to the fact that in some cases they don't fully understand what we're saying, they believe that we are hiding something.
Hiding something.
Which is not the case.
Yeah. Agree.
But that reminds me a few years ago when we were talking about search. Nobody could understand what could bring out to put money in Google, you know?
Yeah.
And right now it's we can't imagine a campaign without an always on search campaign, you know?
Yeah.
That's a thing of fully understanding the thing, fully understand it's simple, it's transparent, it's smart. It's so.
Yeah, even
I can understand.
I mean, I'm sure all of you, you have meetings every week asking you for DMPs, right? This is like the magic word.
Yeah.
I want a DMP. It's like I want a toy. What do you need it for? When?
What do you tell them?
Well, first question is, do you really need it? I mean, do you need a DMP?
You know what to do with the data?
Exactly. How long are you going to be using it? Are you going to be doing campaigns on a weekly, on a monthly basis, or just, you're just going to be running a campaign twice a year and that's it?
Yeah.
I think it's worth it to clarify that the DSP is a demand-side platform and the DMP is a data management platform. So clients sometimes are asking for DMPs, but they didn't start with the basis. So we need to clarify glossary of terms, and we need to understand what do we need things for.
Yeah.
Because you don't need sometimes a DMP.
Yeah.
Or blue chip companies such as Unilever, for instance, they have their own DMP in their own proprietary sites, you know?
Yeah.
So one note on DMPs, as most of you may know, is a public knowledge. Like Omnicom is doing a global effort with a partnership with Aggregate Knowledge, that is our DMP technology. So we are in the process for Latin America to really integrate all clients' information and try to understand the data and trying to start doing this. Is this something proactive for Omnicom globally? So I completely agree about, like, we need to understand what is there, how everything is working. Once we have that established, you will have complete transparency and visibility, not only for your programmatic buying, but also across digital campaigns.
Yeah.
I think that could become a breakthrough, definitely.
Yeah. We've seen in markets around the world the adoption and use of data, first-party data, on media owner side and also on the advertiser side is just, kind of up and to the right. So we just have a couple minutes left. Let's touch just for a minute on the kind of top markets in the region. And maybe are they leaders or are they laggards? Like a quick kind of rapid fire piece. Maybe Marina, I'll start with you and we'll come back this way.
Okay,
so
leaders are...
let's start with Brazil. Is Brazil a leader or a laggard?
Definitely, they are leaders.
They're leaders.
They are leaders,
Okay.
And they fueled by, they're fueled by their legal specific situation, because it's very important that they totally combine creativity with media investment. They are not separate, so that facilitates the growth of
driven the adoption.
Yeah, that's driven adoption of DSPs are programmatic opportunities because they totally combine from the very beginning the creativity with the media amplifier.
Got it. Okay, Brazil, leader or laggard?
It's a leader, but because the market condition allow them.
Okay, leader or laggard?
NBA. Yeah.
Yes.
Leaders.
Yeah, 80% of my time on programmatic is Brazil.
80% is, okay. All right, Argentina, leader or laggard?
They will be leader, but I couldn't say they are laggard right now because they have the talents, they have the clients on board, and they have a lot of things. But the situation, the country situation, will imply that in 12, 15, it will be the good South Cone leader of the region.
All right,
you know?
all right, quickly, because we're going to run out of time. Leader or laggard?
Leader, from the point of view of thinking. Taking new
Okay, leader or laggard?
They could be the leaders.
Could be the leaders.
Yeah, I agree. It's thinking, education-wise, great, but laggard.
Okay, and let's do Mexico quickly. Leader or laggard?
It's coming to the point where it's going to be a leader, so it's
Okay, we're
it's
getting there.
Pretty promising.
Okay.
It's embracing.
Embracing as well, leader.
Embracing?
Yeah.
Okay. And is there, you want to pick out one other market that you're kind of watching and that really has its act together?
I think my third market in terms of time investment, resource investment is Colombia.
Colombia.
Definitely.
Yeah, Colombia, Peru. That's it.
Colombia or Peru?
Colombia becoming a leader.
Colombia.
Colombia and Chile.
Colombia and Chile.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's thank our panelists for coming out today and talking about programmatic.
Thank you, Jake.